All right, ladies and gentlemen, good Monday morning. Welcome aboard our brief. We're going to knock out a quick max afterburner opportunity, and then we're going to do our regular solo Amazon brief. 1 second here. All right. All right, sorry about that. When we live stream on YouTube, I hear myself talking, and I don't want to hear that, man. It's bad enough. You got to listen to it. Okay, let's go ahead and get airborne. We have, I'm excited about this. You have an incredible opportunity this morning to join our most elite team here at Top Gun Options. We just passed our 5-year anniversary into the lifetime group, and it's just absolutely awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead and press forward. Hey, most of you have already made the obviously the commitment to join Top Gun Options. I did open this up to the public randomly. Folks go straight into lifetime, which is great. So if you're here from the public and you're ready to accept a larger challenge, God love you. But for all my current members and even former members show up to these complimentary briefs. Now it's time to take it to the next level. We're going to look at our performance. This really is the most elite squadron here in our air wing, and time for you to throttle it on up. You're going to lock in a permanent seat in our top performing inner circle, like I said, and you're going to get access to private equity and deal flow you can't get anywhere else. Trust me, folks, I've been in this space for 34 years, all sorts of other services out there that more or less suck. None of them are equal to our service here at Top Gun Options and the investment opportunities that you get access to. I have two incredible ones coming up that you're going to want to jump on and just have explosive profit potential. Many of you are already investors in this, but most of the new folks, I haven't done a brief like this in, I think, since the fall. So this is good to get everybody up to a level playing field. So let me just talk about the benefits, folks. You get obvious access to all of our elite trade briefs, solo Amazon, primary, accelerated retirement, all of our current stuff, and any new stuff that we do. We do options on futures. If I believe that crypto someday isn't a Ponzi scheme. I have buddies who keep chomping at the bit to come and do a crypto service here. We'll see. Doesn't matter. Anything new that we do, you get access to that included in your lifetime membership. Years ago, when we launched Solo Amazon, the lifetime members lucked out. Well, they didn't luck out. They're lifetime members. They got access included. So nobody else is doing this either, folks. You get to transfer when you're ready to move on, folks. You know, Wiz, I've been here doing the lifetime for 3-4 years. I got it. Send me my Top Gun Options patch, and I want to give my membership to wife, significant other, kids, something like that. I'm the only one, folks, that allows you to donate that, give that to a significant other. Okay, nobody else does that. I catch grief from people who have lifetime services at other places. They're like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, what, you already took in the revenue, man. Let them give it to a family member. So, Tom, I've been a lifetime member for over 4 years, and I've been involved in the investment space for 30 years. This experience has been excellent. And if you're interested in making it, awesome, Tom. See, I'm going to grab that screenshot here, if you don't mind, in a little bit. I love when my lifetime members Roger up here. Wiz, I can wire payments Monday. I'll find a way, blah, 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 to get the agreement signed. Can't believe you're allowing immediate family members to use the information. It's never heard of that. You are the only one doing this. Might as well call it a family plan, right? And then I love the bottom part. I want to thank you for all you do. Very impressed with what you're doing for the veterans. So sad to see how our government is neglecting to take care of our folks. I appreciate that. So right there, we can call it a family plan. Nobody else is doing that. You are able to do that. That's essentially double the value, folks. I mean, that's just, we've had, I think, like 5 or 6 lifetime folks do that already. And that they're thrilled that they were able to do that. Okay. So you also get priority and private investment and once in a lifetime opportunities. What do I mean by this? Well, let's start with the first once in a lifetime opportunity that I've helped four people, four achieve. Where's JG? JG's usually in here. Eileen, Rebecca, who was the Rich Marler, right? So folks, fighter jet flight. JG, are you in here? JG's usually in here. There he is. There's JG. So folks, I can't promise this. Obviously, it depends on the jet and stuff like that. But lifetime members in South Florida, I'm like, you know what, man? Let's go bend the jet around. That comes out of my pocket, folks. And you know, it's what is that? That's $3,000 per flight hour to operate this aircraft. So that's a potential benefit you can get as a lifetime member. I'll do it again. Exactly. Dude, you almost died the first time. I don't know if your wife's going to let you do that again. So maybe flying a fighter jet, but you know, if you can or don't want to or anything like that, here's what you should really care about is all these other opportunities we have here at Top Gun Options. Private offers. This is, you want to know how people get rich? It's going to be on your screen right here. This whole universe, folks, all feeds into each other in the most explosive sector, okay? We have No Fallen Heroes Extraction, Healing Realty Trust, Experience Onward, and now Demorex. And I'll brief you on these all real quickly. Did hear from somebody last week, oh, Wiz, we're good. The market recovered and the investors are fine. I'm like, you couldn't have told me that? Anyway, so we have a docuseries that should, knock on wood, start shooting here. I'm supposed to be going to Gabon, Africa. I don't know if that's going to happen to get initiated into a Bwiti tribe. I'd prefer to maybe just focus on healing the United States. But anyway, so we have an extraction series that a lot of folks invested in a couple of years ago. That's going to be streaming on Live. Knock on wood, series is successful. They're already talking about new seasons. They're already talking about spinoff opportunities. Flight to Fight. They want to do a flight to fight veteran suicide. Take the jet to a bunch of different cities, do concerts, have events and stuff like that. And I'll brief you more on that here in a little bit. Yeah, Kid's a lifetime member, and Kid also flies the jet. All right, Healing Realty Trust, folks. If you got this investment opportunity a couple of years ago, this is a REIT. This is a real estate investment trust. Hell, I just got an email this morning from the CEO, Joe Caltabiano, with our portfolio expanding. Look at this. It's monthly revenues, 230 grand. We're cash flow. We're making money right out of the gate. 17 closed. Current pipeline is about $54 million, folks. Look at who some of our tenants are. Cardinal Health, Baptist Health, Quest Diagnostics, Emerita. So ladies and gentlemen, if you invested in the REIT, I think Cody, the last time I talked to Cody, was like, man, they made 4 times their money already. We had angels get in at like 25 grand or whatever it was. Some of you are accredited investors who invested 250. This is insane. If you've been here for a little bit, you know we talk about Sabra and we talk about American Healthcare REIT, right? Both those names print money. We are printing money. And when I talk to Joe, he's like, don't listen to Cody. He's way too aggressive. We'll go public in a couple years. Cody's like, Wiz, don't listen to Joe. We're going public next year. Maybe there's a happy medium in between those two. But I think after the last round, it was like 23, 24 folks, TGO members invested in Healing Realty Trust. We're going to be on the floor of the or the NASDAQ market site or the NYSE. I'm going to be in my flight suit someday on the floor, and we're all going to be ringing the bell, either at the open or the close to go public. I'd prefer to stay private, to be honest with you, because I don't like shareholders and having to deal with regulatory issues. I'd rather stay private, but that's not my vote. I'm obviously on the advisory board of this REIT. More importantly, or just as importantly, is my sister. She's the main partner at Dune Capital in New York. Google Dune Capital and Kia Buckley. Her partner's Dan Nidek. Her other partner was the last Treasury or 2 Treasury secretaries ago under Trump, the first, Steve Mnuchin. So HRT, New Growth Connections. The name has changed. Daniel changed the name to Experience Onward. We have a clinic in Oregon. We We're getting ready to finish our raise to do a study with veterans, professional athletes, traumatic brain injury with a university and a health company, insurance company. Daniel is already looking at properties in Colorado. We're already looking to expand. And you ready for this? New Mexico, because New Mexico just approved these medicines at a state level. So Experience Onward is experiencing explosive growth. So a bunch of you got to invest in that. This one really excites me. I'm allowed to officially announce after our formal meeting last week, I am joining the advisory board of Demorex with equity. And this is the new opportunity you're going to have once we red team the slide decks and stuff like that. You're going to be blown away. I gave you homework, or if you didn't do your homework yet, this is your homework before you look into this opportunity in a couple weeks or whenever we do it with Dr. Deborah Mash. This is a must listen to, folks. Let me give you the link in case you haven't listened to it yet. Let me give you this. You have got to listen to this. Thanks, Mo. She's a 500-pound head, folks. Alcohol use disorder. I'm not going to steal her thunder. How many people have it? What the market opportunity is? It's disgusting. When, not if, Demorex or the DMX 101 or whatever the drug label name is, I forget. When, not if, this is approved, forget about it. So on your screen, folks, I got to be honest with you, is a bunch of my retirements. So, I'm diversified, but I'm concentrated in this space. Why? Because I see it works. There's people in this room who can testify to it. Arrow, Kid, Punch, Goose, all these folks that are TGO members that have sat with the medicine over the past 4 or 5 years. They're the folks that invest in these things first. They're like, okay, I'm in. What's the next one? So we have the infrastructure, we have a clinic, growing clinics, and we have a drug. And I hate, you know what? I'm not going to call it a drug. I'm going to call it a medicine. It's a medicine. So you're going to be able to invest in all of these things as a Max Afterburner lifetime member. And then obviously you've kind of seen what it all looks like. You get direct mentorship, and it really is a tight-knit squadron. We currently have, 216 folks in here. You can chat with me personally. In the old days, I used to do one-on-one coaching, and I'd rather get my teeth drilled than ever do that again in my life. Now I don't mind having a little chat box up here and, hey, Wiz, I got a question about this, or what's this trade look like, or anything like that. This is what it looks like: our intel and commentary thread, and then obviously our trade alerts thread. Okay, take a look at Kevin, man. I don't know if Kevin's in here or not. The guy's absolutely crushing it. And doing some good work. He joined Lifetime years ago when it was $12,500, and he made that last week. So where is he? Yeah. So Kevin joined Lifetime for $12,500 years ago, and he made $12,700 last week. So there's a testimonial that I didn't ask for that Kevin just posted last week. Anyway, but it's a great group, folks. You get your app, you get your trade alerts thread. I sent out a bunch of stuff last week, like, hey, man, and you've seen my snipes work. So this should sell itself. I shouldn't have to talk too much longer because we have a lot to talk about solo Amazon. So let me wrap this up. And I love it, man. It's a good group and a good team. Discipline, risk management, superior execution. This is how we do it. How'd this start real quick? Let me give you the history. People are like, why'd you start this? I'm like, well, January 22nd. I'll never forget that day of 2020. Do you see what was the name of that AR brief? Time to go to cash, get long volatility, and buy puts on the S&P 500. If you were here at that time, you're probably filthy rich. Everybody remember this day, right? There it is right there. I'll never forget, man. It's right there. Donald Trump in Davos. Joe Kiernan, interview, Davos, all the beautiful people, Ray Dalio, Trump, everybody in Davos, right? Stock markets at record highs, unemployment at record lows, the economy's hitting on all cylinders. Right here, I told you what was going on. I'm like, hey, man, there's something. I got a buddy in the White House. They are freaking the hell out, Wiz. There's only one level 4 lab in Wuhan, China. They're ripping up the highways. What? They're sending in army units to build mobile crematoriums. What? And we think it's coming here. I'm like, holy shit. What did I do? I did outsider trading. I told all of you about this and I said, get out. Buy puts, let's get long volatility. What happened on January 22nd? Why am I bringing up that date? Because Joe Kiernan said, Mr. President, at the end of the interview, before you go, wait, hold on. What's this China flu? There's like a virus in China. Dumb question, Joe. Why you even ask me that question? Nobody asks dumber questions than you, Joe. You're dumb. I trust Xi Jinping. Good buddy. Been to Mar-a-Lago. Great backswing. Buddy of mine. You're an idiot. Dumb. I looked into this camera and I said he's lying. He's lying his ass off. And then what happened? I made millionaires here at Top Gun Options. Many of you became millionaires. So cash is trash. Anybody see the date when Ray Dalio said that famous? It was a day after I said, everybody get out. Buy puts on the S&P 500, get long volatility. Ray Dalio, Wiz is wrong. Cash is trash. Get in the markets. Ah! What happened? You know the history. You can read the book. I'm not going to give you the brief. How about this tweet, folks? The coronavirus is very much under control in the USA. We are in contact with everyone. CDC, World Health, very smart. Stock market looking very good to me. February 24th, ladies and gentlemen. What happened? 3 days, I think this was on a Friday. Monday, the market opened down 3,000 points. Well, this didn't age well, but thanks for the $760,000 this week. One of the main reasons I started the foundation was because I'm like, okay, man, I like a nice house, but I don't need this money, Susie. Let's help veterans. Does anybody notice anything weird about that Twitter account handle? It was Susie Strike Fighter Financial. Why? Because I was losing Twitter accounts back then. Why? Social justice warriors. And I was telling the truth about COVID. Blocked, denied, permanently banned. Where's my apology, Elon Musk? I was right. Jeffrey Gunlock, a month later when I called the bottom. When did I call the bottom? On Susie's birthday, April 27th. It was April 27th, folks. Jeffrey Gunlock. We're going to go back down again. I said, he's an idiot. Did you not listen to Jerome Powell? Jerome Powell said, I will do whatever it takes to save capitalism. The market never looked back. Jeffrey Gunlock runs Double Line Capital, $200 billion fund. He got it wrong. I got it right. So that's why I started it, folks, is people were like, all right, Wiz, you got to do longer trade briefs. I'm like, no, I'd rather die. No, I'm not sitting here all day. Well, how about we come up with a group? Now you're talking. That's where the lifetime came from. Why? So we could have a thread and an app, and I could be on the beach saying, all right, or on the ski lift. That's how it started. Why? Because we're the smart money, folks. This group is better than any hedge fund I know. What? You heard me. Why? Ladies and gentlemen, we have investors from all experience levels and sectors. We got doctors. One of our doctors, lifetime member, famous guy who's, I think they're going to drop his case finally, was saving lives in COVID. Why? He was injecting it into the trash can and giving people their bullshit. Oh my God, that's fraud and abuse. No, it wasn't. He said, don't pay the doctor fee. Donate it to a charity. Didn't make a dime off of it. Google it. He was a TGO member, is a TGO member. He's obviously, we helped raise some money for him and stuff like that for his legal defense fund. Biden, Harris were going after him. I think Pam Bondi's going to drop this. Anyway, military folks, lawyers, small business, retired. We research because we care, right? Look at Christine, another prediction that TGO called a year ago. You are always right on, Liz. Keep it coming. We are the smart money, making money with both hands. Why do we care? Let me tell you about my experience in Chicago with professional traders, right? First of all, professional traders, most of them, 98% of professional traders are trading whose money? Not theirs. They are trading OPM, other people's money. Nobody cares more about your money than you folks, right? Let me give you a quick example. At our firm in Chicago, we actually had tech. You couldn't trade certain names. One of the sectors you couldn't trade was biotech. Why couldn't you Why couldn't your traders with trade biotech? Well, because of this. One of our traders got around our risk management system. Sounds familiar. Remember that SocGen guy? And then the Amaran or whatever, something gas, like some trader lost $6 billion and almost like destroyed. Anyway, because he got around their risk management systems too. This guy got in there and was long Immunogen. What happened? Phase 3 came out. FDA said no. It went down 80% in a minute. This guy lost $4 million in a minute. As I was walking him out of the firm within an hour of us discovering this, you're not allowed back at your desk, by the way. We called him into the office and the HR. And it's funny, we had a little old lady who was the HR director. Guess who she had in the office whenever she was letting traders go? Because all of them were mostly guys, me. But dude, I'll throw all your shit in a box, man. You're not allowed back at your desk, even if you ain't touching the computer. You got to go. I drank beers with this guy, man, back when I used to drink. He was a good dude, nice guy. He looked at me as I'm walking him out of the firm and taking his key card. Wasn't my money. He started at Susquehanna or Citadel. He went to a competitor down the street a couple weeks ago. Ladies and gentlemen, professional traders don't give a shit about their money. So anyway, look at Charles. Charles, since he joined Lifetime, ran 250 grand up to 851. Unbelievable. So this is, I don't know if Charles, if you're in here, Charles is absolutely crushing it. He's from South Jersey, South Philadelphia. I love my Charles. He sent me a screenshot of all of his stuff. Cecil, thought you would enjoy a note on Compass and MindMed's run in the last couple of weeks. The open positions in my IRA and wife's IRA paid for my Lifetime membership a year ago. Would not have been on my radar if not a member. Right? Most of you are like, what are you talking about? The psychedelic space, right? So a lot of people are coming here like, I did not know about the psychedelic space. Wiz, I'm a little advanced in my years. Well, where's Andrew? I was 73 when I became a Lifetime member. I look forward to making the cost via Wiz trading before leaving it to my children or grandchildren. A great incentive to live healthy and thrive. So a lot of folks are like, hey, I'm retired. And so we got some folks in here. David, got in a Lifetime about 5 years ago. Over the next year and a half, I made $450,000. Got a job for 4 years. Now just got back to trading. Awesome. Dwayne, I went Lifetime when I realized I was making 20 grand per month listening to you. Kevin's making 12.5 a week. Dwayne's doing 20. Larry, I love this from Larry. Folks should really think about a Lifetime membership. When I joined in 2013, I thought I'd do it for a year or so and move out on my own. That worked for a while. Then I joined again a few years later. I find the intel, you're welcome, to be priceless. My point is I spent more on annual memberships over the years than the Lifetime. That's one of the main reasons I did Lifetime, is to save you guys some money. Okay, let me ripple through these. Utah, Blue Angel. Thanks, brother, for all you have taught me last month. 47 grand, starting with a $30,000 account, now over 100 grand. Utah, crushing it. Wiz, I started with a $295 monthly, put 20 grand into my account. By March 9th, the 20 was 60. So I went to the annual membership. This morning, it's 150 grand. Joined Lifetime. There's Dwayne. I already talked about Dwayne. This was COVID crash, people. And 250 to 2.7. Seth, 300, 488, 1.1 million. I got in a Lifetime at 10 grand. That's when it was really giving you a break. You're not getting that break ever again. 10 grand for Costa Rica trips. Started slow, but covered the Lifetime fee already. And then he donated to the foundation. I'm not going to keep going on with this, folks. So anyway, here's another, Dave, real quick. Started 3 years ago, just in AR, added solo Amazon after my first six-figure income year, joined Lifetime, and I'm amazed at the value provided. 74 years old, I'm on board. So folks, even if you're a little senior, don't worry about it. Why this matters, and then we got to go. We need your help. I need your help. Well, we need your help. Veterans need your help right now, first responders and their families, to save and change the lives of our heroes. I'm going to allow you to take $5,000 of the lifetime investment and donate it to the No Fallen Heroes Foundation. Okay. This is a charitable donation to an IRS approved 501c3. Hopefully, you're not doing it just for that, but that is awesome, isn't it? Okay. So you get a nice write off, and for $5,000, you can sponsor two of our heroes up at Experience Onward. Sadly, Ibogaine in Mexico. When I did Ibogaine 4-year anniversary next week, it was $3,500. It's $6,500. So the 5 ain't covering an Ibogaine, sadly, folks. But doing medicine in the United States, psilocybin, you get to sponsor 2 heroes and potentially save and change their lives. Look at this guy. 6 years Marine, 29 years as a cop, disabled in line of duty. Injury was near fatal. He was diagnosed with PTSD, became an addict, alcohol, opioids. He was suicidal. I found help via the No Fallen Heroes Foundation, was successfully treated in a 5-day journey. I'm healed. I want that to sink in, folks. Healed. I don't know if Andrew is in here. God bless Andrew and his family. Son, veteran, took his own life. I'm at peace with it. You're doing God's work, brother. Keep it up. I've been on a spiritual journey, and I'm with you, Wiz. Andrew, I don't know if you're in here or not, but Andrew is a solid guy, and he's incredible. Alan, I guess you didn't hear me. I said we're talking about Lifetime first, and then we're going to talk about solo Amazon. So if you're not interested, you can go mute, and then when you see Amazon on the screen, you can pay attention. Why this matters to you: sponsoring 2 heroes, you're going to change lives and profit. Okay, folks, that's a win-win. If you can help save and change the lives of people and make money, I mean, it doesn't get any easier than that. All right, so here we go. I got 3 more minutes until we do solo Amazon. It's a one-time payment, folks, $15,000. It is currently valued at 20 or 22. It's north of 20, folks. The current value is 20 or more. So I'm going to give you 3 days. This week, tomorrow, we're going to do another brief about the Fed. And then Wednesday, no briefs Wednesday. I am flying up at the crack of dawn Wednesday morning to go to Washington. Going to the VA, folks. This has been 5 years of me grinding to get to the VA. Okay. So 5 years meeting with the VA finally. So no briefs on Wednesday. But Wednesday night, Thursday, I'm going to the Federal Summit on psychedelic assisted therapy at the National Press Club. So I got a big week ahead. So I want to tie all this stuff up before I got Mr. Smith goes to Washington. So you got 72 hours, folks. 10 to TGO and 5 to the foundation. Okay. I'll work with you too. So meaning I'll show you the potential offer. Oh, and by the way, this was April's performance in S&P 500 trades alone. Oh, Kevin's doing better than me, but just in this model portfolio, folks, it was almost 20 grand. It's 15, folks. So if you had done the S&P 500 trades like I did last month, you made your lifetime membership and $4,500. Unbelievable. So it essentially, you can pay for this pretty damn quickly. Okay. 72-hour deadline. Email me right now if you're interested, Wiz, because I'm only taking 5, folks. We take everybody in solo Amazon. We take 25 a quarter in the full throttle. And then this is the elite. It's Zoo 25, 5. And I only do this maybe once or twice the year. You're not going to be number 6, I guarantee you. Wiz at topgunoptions.com. I'll send you an agreement. You just sign and return it. First 5. Okay. Wednesday at midnight. Tuesday morning when I'm at the National Press Club in the Psychedelic Summit with all these folks, it'll be 20. If you will be number 6 if you email me on Thursday, and you'll be paying 20 grand, and you won't be able to donate to the foundation. There is an annual maintenance fee. It's $497 every January 1st to help keep the lights on. The wire instructions are in the agreement. We prefer a wire, folks. Or if you want to use your credit card because you like your air miles, you're going to eat the 3% credit card fee. Okay. We don't have that money. You're going to eat that, not me. Okay. Now, Wiz, what do you mean work with you? You could do a monthly if you wanted to, meaning what? Let me go down to lifetime deal. You could do monthly payments, and I'll work with you. Just shoot me an email like, Wiz, I can't do the one-time payment. Can I do a monthly? Yeah, I'll let you split up a monthly. Like, let's call it $1,000, and then 500 to the foundation. We'll let you split up a monthly payment if you want to do that. Okay, that's included in the 5 people, though, folks. All right. So if you want to do a monthly payment type of thing, hey, Wiz, can I split the payments between the foundation and TGO? Absolutely. We'll let you do something like that. So if you want to break it up into monthly payments, the answer is yeah. We'll let you split that. Okay. Awesome. That took exactly 30 minutes. That's what I wanted it to do. Any questions, concerns? Oh, by the ways, before we do our brief. All right, good. And at the end of this brief, I'm going to clear everybody out. I want to take the screenshots of all those lifetime people who said stuff. I didn't want to break my flow, but thank you for doing that. Good point, Dwayne. I appreciate that, my brother. You can avoid taxes. That's exactly right. That is exactly right. You can write checks from your IRA. Well done. John, been with me since Chicago. Holy shit, man. The Options News Network. I appreciate that. That was back in the day. I love that. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and get airborne. Barry, I was doing a brief 2:00 Wednesday afternoon. That's why I canceled it, because the Secretary of Veterans Affairs sent me a message last week and said, can you meet with my team? And I said, I'll be on the next plane, sir. So right here, he wrote me a DM, and that's what I'm doing. So I don't have Wednesday afternoon free. I might, but I don't know, right? I'll be in DC. I don't know if I'm going to be at the VA at 2:00 in the afternoon. I land on JetBlue at 9 a.m. I don't know if it's an 11 a.m. meeting. They said they're going to take a look at their schedules and get back to me. So we were originally trading the Fed, but I canceled it. All right, let's go. How about everything that's going on? Let's take a look at the S&P 500. And I also wrote this last week, didn't I? Did everybody get this when I blasted this out last week, right? I said, hey, man, we've regained all liberation losses, okay? Be ready to pound everything into the dirt again if we get some bad news. This is either an overbought bear market rally or the bottom is in. Right now, and I think, Kevin, you posted some good intel this morning that says, hey, canary in the coal mine, let's go. Like, we're in the danger zone, not Tom Cruise and Top Gun, but right here, right? Impressive, but it's still just a bear market rally. Here's the, Liberation Day is technically right here. We've regained all of our Liberation Day losses, but we had losses starting up here. Why? Because Trump was already threatening all this stuff, and then he did it. But if you take the implosion and gap, this is decision week, so to speak. Okay, so we really are in a danger zone right now. Yeah, Bruce, I would not take that job because I don't want to live in Omaha, Nebraska. No offense to anybody who lives in Omaha, Nebraska. Bill, 81-year-old lifetime member and have made money every year. Thank you for that, Bill. I appreciate these comments. All right, here we go. Little bit of a relief rally last week because of what? Meta, Amazon. We got some great earnings last week, didn't we? We also got this. Beijing waives fentanyl offer to U.S. to start trade talks. Addressing Trump's team concerns over China's role in fentanyl crisis could let both sides soften stance on trade. So that's an important part here. A lot of people at the beginning of this, when Trump initially fired broadsides at Canada and Mexico, he said what? Well, it's mainly about fentanyl. No, it wasn't. I mean, he clearly cares about Americans dying in fentanyl, but this was a means to an end. So using this fentanyl straw man is allowing them to maybe soften some of the trade stance because they don't want to lose face, right? So this is technically good news and was bullish for the market. We'll see. We are still, folks. Um, I haven't seen a single deal signed. Okay, I'm old enough to remember Trump the first, the phase one deal. Do you remember the guys on an airplane, Steve Mnuchin and Ambassador Lighthouser, China, and I was in South Bend, Indiana, where Arrow went to school, Notre Dame. It was a Sunday, man. I was speaking to Whirlpool, giving a keynote up in Whirlpool in St. Joe's, and it was a Sunday afternoon, man. And they called the president and said, "Hey, we're over here in China. They think Biden's going to win. They're just going to buy their time. Get on an airplane, get back here." Monday morning, the markets imploded because Trump hit him with another round. Biden did end up winning. But anyway, this is, you know, we're not there yet, right? So we got all the losses back, but we're not there. And what did I post last week before I went up to Orlando for a cheer competition? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Markets do not. When's the last time the S&P 500 went up 9 days in a row? 2004. You don't have to answer. I already figured it out. So, folks, we're going to go laugh right now at this headline. Let's go look at this. Do you remember when I posted this article? Dow headed for worst April since 1932 as investors send no confidence signal. April 21st. I've been trolling the Wall Street Journal. They've turned into the New York Times. Excuse me. Why? April 21st. Are you insane? So it's almost like the Wall Street Journal put the bottom in. After the Wall Street Journal posted that article, we went up 9 days in a row, and it hasn't happened in over 2 decades. Now, I think we're going to come back to the 20-day moving average here to find a little bit of support, but that's just me. Isn't that funny? Maybe wait until the end of April, like Dow did the worst April since 1932. Instead, the S&P 500, you ready for this? Rallied 10%. That's obscene. So once again, I have to laugh at the financial media every once in a while because they're stupid. U.S. economy shows remarkable resilience in face of trade turmoil. Trump's policies have created headwinds, but the U.S. economy is pushing through them. Yep. Trump downplays economic concerns as he looks to cut trade deals. So the president and his advisors feel a little bit more confident. Why? Did you see the jobs numbers last week? Employers added 177,000 jobs in April despite tariff uncertainty. Hiring slides slowly from March, pace unemployment rate held. Now, I'm seeing a lot of silver linings here. Let's look at the bad. This was right after or right before Trump fully blasted. So we're not, the bad fully isn't in here yet. So the next round of macro data might be kind of crappy. So let's not celebrate too soon, okay? Native-born workers surge by over 1 million, back to all-time high as government employees tumble. How? Let's look at this tweet. Love Zero Hedge. How is this not the biggest political talking point right now? Since October 2019, Americans have lost 1.4 million jobs. Foreigners gained. Does everybody remember me talking about this for ages? This was posted January of 2024. What an obscene metric, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely horrific. We're starting to get some jobs back. What a concept. As Uncle effing Sam starts losing them. Welcome to the private sector, swampies. You're due at work at 8 a.m. Show up. Here we go. Amazon, ladies and gentlemen. Let me get a hell yeah. Watching your Iron Condor, the trades, everybody happy with Amazon. It was so funny watching Amazon after hours Thursday. It gapped down 5% after hours. When I saw the earnings, I'm like, there's no way it's going to stay down 5%. These were blowout numbers. It was the weaker guidance that people were a little concerned with, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, this was Death Star performance. What happened with Amazon by Friday morning and afternoon? Where did we close? I mean, folks, so there's, gap down. We got as high as 192. Unbelievable, right? And then, I mean, we closed in the middle of the chop. We closed at 190. And now, we gap down today on just, selling the news a little bit. S&P 500s filled the gap. Now I would shoot a sniper, Mike. There's your 246. Let's look real quick. 246, super strong 246. Look. Now's the snipe. 246. We're heading up to 56.75. I would shoot a 35.30 sniper, but I'm going to focus on Amazon. If you know what you're doing, go 35.30. But since there are solo Amazon people here that don't snipe, we're gonna stick going here. All right, so Amazon numbers, ladies and gentlemen. Let me cover something about Amazon real quick that is awful. Let me say this is whiz first. This is awful. Now let me talk as a portfolio manager and Top Gun Options instructor. This is fantastic. The first driverless semis have started regular long haul routes. On your screen, ladies and gentlemen, is absolutely fantastic news for Amazon. On your screen right now is horrific news for the human race. AI is, first of all, is going to kill all of us eventually, but in the near term, millions and millions will be out of work. Look at that picture. Ain't no human in that seat, folks, who needs healthcare, a 401k, a match, a break, unionizes. Gone. Tell me what happens to society. I've been pounding this drum since day one, folks. All the people, when you got a Bill Gates saying, oh, hey, it's going to be great for everybody, run. He's lying. It's going to be great for the people at the top. So I'm starting to sound like the Terminator here, but folks, this goes right to Amazon's bottom line. I showed you a couple weeks ago, drones, ladies and gentlemen, making deliveries. I predicted that before drones were even a thing, like 10 years ago. I said that you're going to open your door, you're going to get it scanned from a drone and drop your prescriptions in your hand. Or you're going to get a text with a pin to go out to the blue Amazon truck, enter it on the side, and the door will flop open, and you, like a candy machine, you grab your package. No driver, no employee, no healthcare, no 401k, gone. When I did that consulting years ago down at the Miami Fulfillment Center, man, there were robots, and it's creepy. So I saw this, and I'm like, this is fantastic, and it's a horror. Back to Amazon. And let me tell you another thing that's going to absolutely destroy people. Let me bring it up. This is how lazy I am, but how great everything is. You ready for this? If I were in Chicago Friday, I would have called an emergency partner meeting, and I was a junior partner. If I stayed one more year, I made full partner. But ladies and gentlemen, I would have said we need to fire all the analysts. The boardroom overlooked our trading floor. You saw that picture. And the research desk was, 200 feet long, had 25 researchers there. I'd fire them all today. ChatGPT, folks, Grok, whatever, will eliminate tens of millions of jobs. Why? Give me an executive summary of Amazon earnings, the highlights, and analyst opinions. Boom. I didn't have to sit here like I used to do in the old days and look at all sorts of sheets and Bloomberg terminals, and it's over with. Anyway, not revenue, ladies and gentlemen, 9% increase blew away analyst expectations. EPS 136, 159. Net income, operating income. My God, folks. Everybody goes to this first. AWS, 17% year over year, folks. Oh my God, Wiz, it's slightly below expectations. Are you shitting me? Advertising revenue, ladies and gentlemen. This is my number 2 that I start looking at now. All this stuff, I know they're going to print money. Then I look, AWS is big because everybody cares about that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm old enough to remember 5 years ago, 7 years ago, Google, the advertising, I know, in the internet behemoth. I remember an earnings call and an earnings report where they mentioned a potential competitor in online advertising. This is back when I traded Google. I can't stand it. I hope it goes to zero. They have antitrust issues. But anyway, do you guys, if you were here, you remember this. I'm like, it's got to be Amazon. And it ended up being Amazon. Amazon, the Death Star, is eating into Google earnings. Advertising revenue increased 19%. Anybody look at Google's numbers? Their advertising revenue decreasing. So, well, tell me about the market reaction. It declined 4%, but it got it all back. But why, folks? Cautious guidance. Here's how you know when you should buy a stock, sell the wife and kids, mortgage the house, and buy it with both hands. When you have a stock, blow the doors off of it, and then it gaps down a little bit and hovered, where we are right now. But the reason it's doing this is because there's a little cautious guidance into the future. What happens when, not if, that cautious guidance, because of a little uncertainty or trade stuff, is cleared up? I'm old enough to, my personal synthetic stock, one of them in my portfolio, is up here at like 220. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to laugh when, not if, we rip. How many of you got Amazon when I did Full Throttle 4 weeks ago, at 151? You've made $40 on your synthetic stock in 4 weeks. When, not if, the cautious future that Amazon is talking about clears up, this thing is going to rip. It already is ripping, but you get what I'm saying, right? I mean, you trim your sails for the current sea conditions and the wind. Now, when the wind really starts blowing, you're going to rip, folks. This is incredible, right? All right. And I got to be honest, man, I'm telling you, this is when I went over to the analyst desk or called them up to the boardroom or my office, come give me a brief on Amazon earnings. This is kind of the format. Well, here's the numbers, Wiz. And then this is how the market reacted. And here's the challenges and they're facing. This is what the skipper had to say. And then this is my folks, I'm not stunned. Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, Peak Six Investments will be firing analysts. But anyway, Amazon continues to navigate complex environment, 145% tariffs. The company is also heavily investing in infrastructure, CapEx, $25 billion. Folks, they've essentially doubled their CapEx. So that's investment in what? The future. These investments are primarily directed towards supporting initiatives in generative AI and cloud. I don't mind the CapEx spending, baby, on making the Death Star bigger. Isn't this incredible? I mean, folks, I can't you know, Andy Jassy, we're resilient, man. Vast inventory, goods. Where is it? Look at this. We're talking about Amazon, folks. 5 minutes ago, I was talking about AWS and advertising revenue. Grocery stores. Now you know why I call this thing the Death Star. Amazon Web Services, online advertising, and apples. What? So consensus is a buy, 26 analysts, 241, 27% premium over where we are. Folks, 241 was what? 3 months ago, right? Despite short-term challenges, major institutions like Goldman, B of A, JP Morgan, positive long-term view of Amazon, cloud dominance, retail, blah, blah, blah. In summary, while Amazon's earnings exceeded expectations, the company's cautious outlook and ongoing challenges, apprehension. Okay, when, not if, those things go away, rip. I'm telling you, folks, if you don't have ChatGPT or any of this AI stuff, you're a fool. That little brief that I just gave you would have taken an analyst hours to compile and to brief me on. Now you're fired. I'm telling you, man, this is a game changer. All right, to Amazon. So Alan and some other folks, how many new members are in here? Does anybody, and I can do it super quick, does anybody need a new synthetic stock before I trade the front months? Anybody? Let me say, hey, man, I need a new synthetic stock. Does anybody not have an existing synthetic stock position on Amazon? Let me know now or forever hold your peace, and I will start trading the front months. All right, Werner needs one. Anybody else? Yeah, okay, cool. Here we go. And I'm going to plug, not shamelessly, I'm going to do this quick. Why? Because you should already know how to do this. If you don't, you owe me 50 push-ups. Why? Because you haven't watched your Options Weapon School training session 6 on synthetic stock. And that is your responsibility, not mine. So you should know how to do this, right? Options Weapon School session 6, right there. So in the live trade briefs, what do? I rip. I go quick. Why? Because you should already know what you're doing. And if you don't, you go watch it after I do this. We go all the way out to the future, to Dees of 2027, the farthest out in time we can go. The closest to at the money is the 190 strike. So we are going to sell a 190 put, and we are going to buy a 190 call. Somebody do the disaster put for me. So this is $1,500, this synthetic stock position. However, you're risking 21 grand. Oh my God, that's insane. It's the same risk, folks, as if you're buying 100 shares of Amazon stock. If you wanted to buy 100 shares of Amazon today, folks, how many of you have 18? Allow me to round up. How many of you have 19 grand to buy Amazon right now? You don't. So let's control 100 shares of Amazon. One contract controls 100 shares, folks. So instead of spending 19 grand right now, you're going to spend $1,500 to control 100 shares of Amazon. This is why we do synthetic stock. Okay, there you go. But Wiz, I don't want to risk like I have 100 shares and the stock could go to zero. The odds of Amazon going to zero in the next 2 years are slim to none, and Slim just left town. Doesn't matter. I want to do something called a protective put. I'm going to buy a Dees 27. What was the math? 150. I buy what I call a disaster put or a protective put, 20% under the current stock price. Why 20%? That's a disaster. If Amazon goes down 20%, it's in what? A bear market. Recently, some folks were able to close. Kid, you and I talked about this. Were able to close their disaster put for a profit or roll it up. Actually, people are like, dude, I'm not exiting Amazon. It's getting hammered with everybody right now, but my disaster put is green. Roll it up, baby. Take some profit and roll the put. or lower the put. I mean, lower the put. So, ladies and gentlemen, instead of risking 20 grand in this synthetic stock position, what did I do? I just saved you $13,000 in margin. If you are trading with a margin account, I think you're only going to need about a grand or two in your brokerage. Tell you what, I don't know who you trade with or any of that stuff. You only need a fraction of this to do this trade. Okay. Does everybody understand that? Now, you can just do this and never look at it again. Wiz, I think it's going to move up and to the right for the next 2 years. Okay, don't ever look at it. Or you could do what I do and sell a front month upside call. What do I mean by front month? Friday. Friday is May 9th. Let's go just look at the front month at the money straddle real quick. How do I calculate this? What are we at? 187.5. That's about $3. And that's $3. The at the money straddle is $6. Add that to this. And that will be close to the short call. The 192.5 would be a little aggressive. It's $1.14. So you're bringing in $100, folks. Wait, it's helping me pay for this trade. You bet. Okay. So I've been doing this a lot recently, and I'll do it again for this. The less aggressive short call, if you don't like getting blown out of your short calls, like, oh my God, Wiz, because let's go look at Amazon real quick. I do think, here's what I think is going to happen, and it's already happened. We went through the 20. We came back down to it for a little support check. We went up to the 50, kissed it, and came back for a support check. I think this week, barring some bad Trump news or craziness, it's going to bounce like it's doing right now, and we're going to head back up to 192. I think, and look at that. Let me do better drawing here. For all my technical wizards here, 185 has been an interesting level. And then what's this? This is a triangle. So it gets tight, really tight in here, and then something happens. Either that or that. My bias in Amazon after doing an analyst brief, I'm not fired, I'd hire me, is up. After the dust settles, remember I call earnings a smack in the face. You kind of sit there and go, all right, you let the dust settle. And then this week is when there are analysts, if there's still humans left, sitting in their cubicle going, wow, if the headwinds clear up from all the tariff uncertainty, Amazon's going to rip up. Having said that, Donald Trump breaking news. I don't like Prime Minister Modi. Screw India with a trade deal. No deal. And we all implode again. So we are in a very volatile environment, folks. But in a very volatile environment, what do we like to be? Sellers of options. We like to be a net seller. So why am I rambling about this? Because I'm telling you, the more aggressive short calls would be the 195s. I'm sorry, less aggressive. The 192.5s. You're following me. 192.5 would be a little bit more aggressive. That's right at the money straddle. Okay. Let me grab a screenshot of this and I'll blast this out as a trade alert to my solo Amazon members and my lifetime members. Hunters don't get this because not everybody is in the hunters who is in solo Amazon. But let me grab a screenshot. So for all my new folks, welcome aboard Solo Amazon. This is the trade I would do today as a brand new solo Amazon member. As I'm grabbing screenshots, let me say warning, warning, warning. Do not let a short call go in the money this Friday. If you sell the 192.5s and Amazon closes above 192.5 on Friday, you will wake up Saturday morning drinking coffee in your bloody slippers, and you will have negative 100 shares of Amazon in your account. Remember, do your options weapons school training. Sellers have obligations. If you sell a short call, you are obligated to deliver Amazon shares at 192.5. Wiz, I fell asleep on Friday. It closed at 195. I have 192.5 calls. Well, you're on the hook. they're going to go in your account and see that you don't have 100 shares of Amazon. So they're going to go borrow some and make you negative. You're going to be short 100 shares of Amazon. Go watch the replay from last week. I wasn't asleep. I thought I was going to get filled on my SIBO short call closure, and I didn't. The stock popped into the close. I woke up with negative 100 shares in SIBO last Saturday. SIBO opened down. Last Monday, I got out for commissions. I got out flat. All right, so I have an existing Amazon position here, so I'm just going to sell. I'm going to go aggressive. I'll do the at the monies. I'll sell a single 192.5 for 112 right in the middle there. And I got filled, so Alan, if it was to go through 195, would you roll or close the whole position? Alan, that's a great question. It depends on kind of when, right? Let's say we're in this brief right now and Amazon super pops. I'd probably wait a little bit to see if it's going to fade, right? Avoid the tendency to roll too much or too early, or kind of let it fly, right? We're in a Monday solo Amazon live trade brief. Amazon sometimes pops early in the week and then fades into the close. So kind of hang for a little bit. But if it's in the money and it's getting a Thursday, Friday, remember, you can be assigned early. If you let some short calls be in the money and it's a long time this week, the people on the other side could say, you know what, give them to me. And you could be assigned early. It's called early assignment, right? So I tend to wait a little bit, but Alan and everybody else, I use the double the credit I take in rule. Let's just round down to $1. I brought in $1 with those calls I just sold. I want the dollar, baby. But if Amazon starts increasing, that credit's going to be going up, $1.10, $1.20. I use double the credit I take in. If Amazon starts ripping this week and that dollar turns into $2, eject. That's just easy to write down in your trade plan. I brought in a credit of $1. I'd maybe eject out of these short calls at $2. Remember, you want the dollar to go to zero. If it's going up, that means Amazon's going up. Okay. Let me remind people of short call victories. That's a trade, right? We have 4 legs in a synthetic stock position. You technically want, not technically, you want Amazon to go up, man. The reason you just did a synthetic stock 2 years into the future is you want it to go up. Now, if Amazon goes up more than your short calls for the week, celebrate that a little bit. Like, yeah, I want the underlying to go up. Don't get pissed at your short calls going in the money. Go, you know what? I was right. Amazon's going to go up, but I put a roof on it and it was a little too much. Okay. Does that make sense? Bob, you can do both, folks. Remember, I don't dig too much into rolling because it's a whole hour lecture. You could, if Amazon is threatening your short calls, you can roll them up for Friday. Or you could roll them out the next Friday. Or you could do both. Wiz, I'm going to roll them up and roll them out the next Friday. It's a whole Rubik's Cube of what you can do, right? So I would, first of all, I just wait. I don't overtrade, man. I got into it for a reason. I let it fly. Me staring at Amazon this week between now and Friday ain't going to do any good. I check in. After this brief, I'm going to get up, stretch my legs, get some coffee, and go to the beach. I'll look on my phone every once in a while, but I don't sit here. You ain't going to, I don't care how much you manifest, you staring at the screen and ticks ain't going to do anything. So, yeah, you can absolutely do a spread. Real quick, though, because S&P, if you shot that sniper I told you, the 3530, you're probably up close to $1,000 right now. You're welcome. Look at that run. What did I tell you? I said we're most likely going to run up to 75, and I said that back here at about 1030. And there's your run. You're welcome. Here's your $1,000 you could have put towards lifetime, right there. But I was on a rant. That was solid earnings, man. I would look at a weekly bull put spread. Hold on, let me look at the flight schedule real quick. I didn't do that, but we got a lot of stuff last week. So I think this week might be a dead week. We got a bond auction, which I usually don't pay attention to, but kind of a big deal nowadays. We have the Fed meeting. Duh, I forgot about that. So, why the pause? Let me tell you what I'm thinking through the pause. Jerome's doing nothing this week. He's not cutting rates, and I don't think he's raising rates. So the rate will stay unched. It's the words that we're going to care about, right? So when they release the decision at noon, the market flops around a little bit, and then 2:30 he starts speaking. This, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be absolutely nuts. Why? Let me look at Thursday or Friday. Anything else? Thursday. What the hell's it? Was it a Fed JOPA meeting, Junior Officer Protections Association? Economic conference? Are they all talking at the same conference? Look at all these Fed lieutenants. Usually Stanford, they're all at different. This is all right. So let's talk through this. This is funny. Fed announcement Wednesday, Fed press conference with the commanding officer. This one could get ugly, and I'll brief you on the ugliness in a second. Then on Friday, you got all the Fed lieutenants out. Are they going to clean up what was said? Or are they going to support what was said? So all these Fed lieutenants speaking throughout the day, 11, 10, 7:45 at night. Why the potential ugliness? Well, ladies and gentlemen, in between the last Fed meeting and this one, Jerome Powell and the president threatened to fire Jerome Powell. Then Powell said, I wouldn't quit. He can't remove me. It's illegal. Then Trump went back to, I'm not going to fire him. And I told you before he said he wasn't going to fire him, I said he's not going to fire him anymore because he needs him as a punching bag. So there's been a ton of dogfighting between the last time they spoke and Wednesday. If I was given press credentials, I'll be in DC. You know what? Maybe I'll try and do that. Fed meeting. Let's see if I can. The Fed, I don't know where the Federal Reserve is in relation to the VA, but if I am free, I'm going to see if I can try and get into the Fed meeting. Why? Because this is what I would ask. Chairman Powell, in September of last year, you cut 50 basis points right in front of an election when the stock market was at record highs. Economic numbers were strong. The Atlanta Fed GDP was 3%, and inflation was going up. You cut 50 basis points. Now, the stock market did enter a correction territory. We have a negative GDP print. Why aren't you cutting rates today, Mr. Powell? Aren't you a partisan hack? And then they'll throw me out. So, ladies and gentlemen, the guy cut in front of the election with everything good, but now that things are shitty, he's not. So, why am I talking about this? Because I was thinking about a bull put spread on Amazon this week because earnings are settling and they were powerful because I gave a really good analyst brief on the earnings. The hesitation is he could do something nuts. Well, I'm not cutting anytime soon. Everything's great. Hell, we might raise rates in the future. Holy shit. He would destroy the market. So just know trading any sort of weekly anything around a Fed meeting is dangerous. How dangerous? I know we're in solo Amazon. I went a little long. Stay with me. Let's go look at the straddle for the S&P to Wednesday. Hell, there might be a Wednesday super wide iron condor availability, May 7th. That's a $75, $80 at the money straddle, folks. Let me see if I did the math right. May 7th. I was right in between 75 and 80. 78.60. Wow. So that's $150, $160 wide. The top is, let me write these down. 57 50 and 5,500. Wow. That is a wide I don't have to wow. Wiz, why is he at the money straddle so wide on Wednesday? Because I just briefed you on it. It wasn't May 9th? I mean, May 7th? I thought he did May 7th here. 2 days, May 7th. Don't make me doubt myself. May 7th. Yeah, I was right. So the top 57.50. Make me second guess myself. Baby Billy, 50. Oh, look at that. 57.50 is essentially the 200 day, and 5,500 is right there, which has been support and resistance a little bit. So I know we're still in solo Amazon. Let me talk a little bit though. Let's talking about if you like Wiz. I think you're right. Go back to your Amazon. I think the dust settling. I don't think Jerome rocks the boat this week. I think he's going to smile for the cameras and just smile and wave, boys. I would look at a 182 and a half, 180. No, there's no. So, folks, I'm saying nah because it's under my uh, minimum for a credit spread. I need 1 to 0.25, and it's just under that. And I don't think I would do a 185. We're at 187 and a half. This would be an aggressive bull put spread, weekly bull put spread. But if that's, I'm not, I'm here to, it's 11:11. We're on the right path. I'm not here to tell you what to trade. I'm here to tell you 185, 182 and a half. If your commit criteria agrees with me, my rambling recently of dust is going to settle. Those were actually super strong numbers on Amazon. I get the weaker guidance. Folks, Amazon at least gave guidance. Did you see airline? There's a bunch of stocks that are like, we're actually not going to give guidance for next quarter. Holy shit. Amazon's actually like, it'd probably be a little soft. Okay. There are companies that have stopped giving guidance because of the uncertainty. Amazon did. So anyway, on your screen right now would be a aggressive weekly bull put spread. Me, the bias is up in Amazon. I could be completely wrong, folks. Wiz, this was a bear market rally. You were right, and we got another leg going back down here. Okay, that could be the case. But let me. So Amazon, if you're aggressive, maybe a bull put spread for the week. I'm just going to do the short calls, personal account, and for the model portfolio, I wouldn't do a bull put spread either. Let's wait for a little bit. If you're not a wait for the dust to settle and you're a little bit more of an aggressive trader, Wiz, look at this. We're consolidating right here, baby. That 185 is actually you just showed me. It's the Mason-Dixon line and that descending triangle. We're going to break, and I think we're going to break to the upside. Then that bull put spread is for you. Remember, in options trading and at Topkin options, if you believe in the exact opposite, descending bear, pennant, and it's going to break to the downside, then you do a bear call spread. Do it up where we did the short call, right? But real quick, I want to cover, even if you're just in solo Amazon, you can hang out for this. A pretty wide SPX iron condor. I think we did this the last Fed meeting. We went like super wide because the volatility it's free money, man. 57.50. Let's go look up at a bear call spread up at 57.50. It might have to come at $5. Just inside. And then what's the bull put spread? 5,500 was the bottom. 55. Oops. Well, I'll just go that 5,500. Since I clicked that, that was a God moment. 5,500. I don't like this bias to the upside. I'm going to go up. I'm going to go to the 50, 55. Yeah. So why the silence? The bias is to the upside. Just looking at this options pricing, it's up. The skew is to the upside. $75.05. Let's go down to 5,500. 54.95. You know what? If I'm sorry to take up your time, I wouldn't do anything after looking at that pricing. No. If anything, so the bias is up. Okay. You can look at the at the money calls and puts. Yeah, Thomas. So I'm not a big. Every once in a while I'll do it, but for now, with this one being, I sound like a brokered record. Well, this one's an important Fed meeting, Wiz. I heard you say that a lot recently. This one's the first one since he's been attacked by Trump repeatedly, and we've had all this macroeconomic. Folks, we had jobs, we had inflation, we had GDP. Remember the GDP print last week? That was a train wreck implosion. What was the knee jerk reaction last week that I told you to buy? I was driving with my legs out of yoga. I'm like, oh my God. We imploded on the negative GDP print. And then what happened? Why did we immediately turn around? Duh. There it is right there. I told you to buy this. Gap down on a negative GDP and look at that. Why? We got it. You're screwed, Jerome. That right here was Jerome Powell literally being shoved into a corner. Nobody puts baby in the corner. Well, we're putting Jerome Powell in a corner. Jerome, you got negative GDP growth. And then the market, that's horrible. This is why invest a lot of retail traders who aren't in our lifetime group don't understand this stuff. Folks, bad news is good news. Horrific GDP print. Most retail traders like, oh my God, I'm going to buy puts. The market's going to implode. No, it ain't. This ain't your father. This is pre-2008. Now the Fed looks at that and like, holy crap. I cut rates in September when GDP was on fire. Why am I not cutting rates right now when the GDP contracted? This is going to be interesting, man. So my apologies that Wednesday, I'm not going to apologize because when the VA secretary says, reach out to my team, can you meet with them? I'm like, I'll be on an airplane. Talk about a God moment. I was flying up after the brief Wednesday anyway for the Federal Summit on Psychedelics at the National Press Club. The VA secretary sent me a direct message last week. And then I'm like, I'm going to be in DC anyway. Great. Can you meet with my team? I think he's traveling. I don't know if I'm getting to meet with him, but the chief of staff or whoever it is or something like that. So anyway, I was going to be live trading around this Fed meeting. If I'm if I'm done for the day and in the hotel room, maybe I'll do a pop-up webinar or something like that. For my lifetime, folks. So just checking my group here. All right, guys, good brief. Lifetime. I'm going to close the brief here. I'm going to go back. I'm going to grab some screenshots of my lifetime members so I can add to my testimonials. Folks, don't listen to me. I grab screenshots from lifetime members. Those are lifetime folks, man. Shoot me an email ASAP, wiz@Top Gun Options. If you want to grab your lifetime membership, I'm only taking 5. You're not going to be number 6. Or if you're number 6, it's going to be at $20,000. What the rate is after those 5 people. Okay. If you want to break it up into monthly payments, we can do that. It's on this page right here, or you can split up the monthly payments to foundation and TGO. Tax write-off, folks. IRS approved 501c3 nonprofit. Pitch in the fight, folks. If you've been dying to get in a lifetime, now's your opportunity. Not only do you get a nice tax write-off, you're getting to help save and change the lives of 2 people. And some pretty sweet investment deals coming up. Like I said, I joined the advisory board of Demorex. When, not if, that medicine gets approved to treat alcohol use disorder, forget about it. Look at Spravato. ChatGPT Spravato. And what happened when that thing came out? Johnson & Johnson, it's $1 billion drug for Johnson and Johnson, right? Or I forget who makes that thing. Alcohol use disorder, folks. Ibogaine saved and changed my life, destroyed alcohol in my life. That's why I'm like the hair club for men commercial. I'm not only a member, I'm also the president. I'm like, Dr. Mash, let's do this. So, all right, guys, I got to go. I'll get this replay posted here shortly. I'm going to go blast out in the Amazon group. Levi, thank you for looking that up. That is awesome. I am going to go, if I'm not at the VA, to the Fed. That's awesome. That's fantastic. Cool. All right, guys, I got to get going. Have a great rest of your day. I'm going to go blast out this trade alert to my Amazon people and my lifetime folks. Shoot me an email. Even if you can't, if you got to maneuver stuff around, I will let you take a slot. Wiz, it'll take me a week to move something around. I will entertain that. You don't need to join by Wednesday at midnight. You got to lock me down because there are people like, I'm going to move something from my IRA to do whatever. I'm like, okay, you're one of the 5. All right, guys, I got to go. Have a great rest of your day. Happy hunting. Make sure you're hedged. Fights on. Namaste and Basi. Whiz out. Go Cats. Screw the Leafs. Cheers. I'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m.